What's up, everyone? ODC here, and I am back with another wrestling action figure review. This is the WWE Elite RetroFest Shawn Michaels, Rocker Shawn Michaels, as I should say. I really like this packaging. I picked this up at my local GameStop. It was $24.99. I have seen, what was it, when this first came out, it was priced at $29.99. That's actually an error on most GameStop. So if you do see it for $29.99, just ignore it, bring it up to the counter, ask for a price check, and it should be $24.99. Now, I'm going to get into a little bit more on the price when we get the figure out of package and we kind of take a look at the aesthetics of what this character is and what it comes with and all that stuff. But anyway, let's get to the packaging first. As you can see, this looks very much like WrestleFest, the arcade game. We all remember that game from the 80s and 90s, I should say. There's a nice picture of Shawn Michaels in his rocker attire from the, I want to say, late 80s, early 90s. And then on the back, we have that kind of player select screen, which actually Rocker, I don't think Rocker Shawn Michaels ever had a player select screen, but it's because it's the figure we're featuring here. So he's from San Antonio, Texas, 6'1", 225 pounds. Signature move is the super kick, flying cross body block, and should say rocker dropper on here. That should be kind of was kind of modified Famouser. And then the finishing move, the rocker plex, which actually I think he used the slingshot suplex and as his original finisher when he was in his singles run, but he also used the slingshot suplex a couple times when he was a rocker. So there's the rocker dropper, there's the slingshot suplex, there's the flying cross body, and they actually did use the super kicks. I want to say the originators of the tag team super kick. On the other side, we have just the same picture reversed. And let's not waste any more time. I'm shooting this live here, so just bear with me. I'm going to get them out of package. This packaging is rather awesome, I do have to say so. The packaging that I specifically got was like a little bit beat up, unfortunately. If we're going to open this off the side here, looks a little bit, but nonetheless, I'm still happy to have this. As you all know, I am a huge Shawn Michaels fan. Have been since I was a small one, little guy. Just try to pull this out of there. Oh God, it's ruining. Oh well, this packaging's gonna get ruined anyway. Okay, there it goes. Anyway, there are no bands or ties with this. He's just kind of in the packaging, so there's that. To point out, this wave came with Shawn Michaels and, let me just fix my camera here. This wave came with Shawn Michaels and Macho Man Randy Savage from his '93 Raw appearance. He did wear this attire a few times. What I like to always think of this attire, I immediately associate it with the Saturday Night Main Event tag team title win that he and Marty never ended up having, unfortunately, because the ropes broke and it never aired, and Vince McMahon didn't like how the product looked with the ropes snapping off the turnbuckle, and they couldn't get it fixed in time, and so anyway, they ended up not having their championship run, but this was the attire that they did wear for that Saturday Night Main Event when they were supposed to win the tag team titles, which technically they did, but they didn't. It was stricken from the record. Anyway, but here he is, not posed in a awkward manner. Here he is, just kind of neutral here. You gotta love the mullet, that 80s mullet, nice and fluffy and flowing mullet. Looks really good. The facial expression's pretty good. The eyes are a little bit cross-eyed, not the worst in the world. But you know, they could have done a little bit better, a little bit more attention to detail, at least with the face. It's like, oh man, for me, it's like if you screw up the face, it's just like throws the whole rest of the figure off to me, because the face really does sell the majority of the figure. Anyway, moving on to the attire, this is just kind of like a plastic vest right here, and we turn around to the back, and it just has a little clasp right there, and you can just unclasp this and take it off. I'm going to leave it on. You know what? It's unnecessary to take it off, to me at least, because if you buy this figure, you want them for the attire. Anyway, and it is plastic, so you don't have to worry about any cloth dye getting onto the skin tone or anything like that. So that's nice. We do have this nice kind of like, almost like, I want to say very 90s-esque, or 80s, 90s-esque, almost like tie-dye, but it's zebra stripe, neon-looking attire here. It's pretty cool. I like that they decided to give him boot covers, and they didn't just get lazy with it and go with white boots. So that's nice to have. And I like how colorful he is. The tassels are just a plastic, which is a little unfortunate. It would have been nice if they gave us some cloth here, but I guess the budget kind of ran out there. And that's kind of maybe my gripe with this. I have another gripe as well, but we'll get to that in a second. He doesn't really come with anything to really warrant a $26 price point. While he is a GameStop exclusive, and they do tend to charge a little bit more, maybe they could have given this a little bit more love as far as that goes, and given him some cloth just for these armbands and tassels. You know, it's not the worst, even though Ultimate Warrior didn't get cloth tassels, so I guess I can't nitpick too much there. The major gripe that I do have that I'm going to nitpick the hell out of is that they picked the wrong knee pads. Marty and Shawn never wore these large knee pads when they were the Rockers. Actually, Shawn never really had these large knee pads to begin with. They always had the kind of smaller knee pads that Shawn's always had, the thinner ones. But for some reason they went with this. I'm probably going to try and outsource some smaller knee pads just because it kind of does throw the figure off a little bit. And the unfortunate thing is that they did it with the first appearance of this Rockers Shawn Michaels, which is right here. And as you can see, this was actually I believe a Mattel exclusive 2-pack, a Matty Collector exclusive 2-pack. I do have Marty too. I'll bring Marty in here in a second. But as you can see, the face sculpt is much better to me, at least. The eyes aren't as cross-eyed. They're a little cross-eyed, but, well, actually, you know what? Now that I'm taking a look at it, I think he's less this is less cross-eyed now that I'm really looking at it. Holy cow, let's take a look closer here. A closer look-see here. Yeah, look at those eyeballs. They are just all over the place. Derp face. You know, so I guess they improved it a little bit. His eyes aren't so cross-eyed like they are here. So I guess I retract my original statement in that department. But just taking a look at the difference here, it just seems like they kind of took this figure, took the cloth off, and gave him some new armbands. Obviously, this is the new style Articulation. Or new arms, I should say, for Articulation, than the old ones, which had the joint exposed. Some people, for some reason, like this new style. I really don't. I think that having the joint exposed like this makes it easier for arm swapping. I know there is a peg in here, and you can use some hot water and unpeg it, but really until these start becoming more and more common, you're kind of, I don't know, screwed if you want to do some, you know, arm swaps or forearm swaps or stuff like that. Even with the hands, you can unpeg them, but as you can see, it was much easier to do that with just this popping this peg out instead of unpegging here. I don't know. I guess it's kind of personal preference, whichever you thought. But I'm so used to unpegging this and doing that when I use hot water on this, it's a little bit more tough, and I'm a little bit more worried that I'm going to snap the peg on this as opposed to just popping this pin out. I feel like the pin is a little bit stronger than the peg going into the arm. But, I guess it's all personal preference anyway. I'm just nitpicking here. But anyway, the big difference between the two are obviously the colors, but they did pretty much reuse a lot here. But within reason, I think it works for the most part. I mean, it doesn't need a all new sculpt or anything like that. I think the bodies look pretty good. I like the attention to detail with the arm tassels here. That looks really cool. I'm gonna flip him around to the back. Everything looks pretty consistent as far as having a different attire, stuff like that, but I'm just pretty much showing you just a little comparison between the changes in attire. I still think I prefer this. I don't know why. Yeah, but anyway, that's just my personal preference. I think I prefer this attire. It did come with some cloth. It came with also a cloth t-shirt, which I will scoot you over right here, and I'll bring in Marty for a second. And there is Marty with the cloth t-shirt. And I really dig this cloth t-shirt. It just reminds me of when I was a kid and I had this Rockers t-shirt. And yeah, I was a big Rockers fan as a kid. Loved tag team wrestling. It was one of my favorite things to watch on TV. And but anyway, I digress. The cloth little, I guess you want to call this belt right here that each of them have. That was a nice touch for the exclusive, the cloth t-shirt. I don't even mind that this is actually plastic, because I think it works better for the figure. It's more durable. It doesn't, end up, dye doesn't end up getting onto the skin tone. You don't have to worry about any of that. It's the only reason I took his t-shirt off was because I was worried about the dye getting all over it. But Marty doesn't have any dye on him, so maybe I might swap that t-shirt back on. Anyway. The figure itself, though, I'm really happy with. As far as articulation does go, his head can swivel, full 360, snapped his neck, he's dead. There are some jive turkeys up in here. Okay, so we got jive turkeys. He does have a little bit of a head tilt, which is really nice for Shawn. Arms go up, down, full 360 rotation. He does have a bicep swivel, a single jointed elbow, which is about 90 degrees. He does not have a swivel at the elbow. I know it looks like it does, but it does not. So don't try and swivel that. You'll snap it. He does have a swivel at the wrist, a swivel at the hinge joint on his hand, which is nice. And he does have the ab crunch that we've all grown to know about with Mattel. Waist swivel. He does have T-jointed hips. Really good splits there. Nice range of motion. Legs go forward. They don't really go back due to the sculpting of the rear end. Double jointed knees, which I feel like if they had the smaller knee pads that are more accurate, you'd get better range of motion there. But due to these large guys, you're a little bit hindered. He does have a boot swivel, an ankle hinge, which points the toe nicely, and no freezing of the joints for the ankles and ankle pivot. And that's pretty much it for Shawn. Let's get him into a Rockers pose. Yeah, we're the Rockers, and we're coming for you. We're gunning for you. We're the Rockers, and we're gunning for you. Heart Foundation. Anyway, so there's Shawn. I would definitely give this 2 thumbs up. The other cool thing is that, let's say you wanted, this is like your definitive Rockers look, and you love the look better than the 2-pack. And you wanted to try and get your hands on a Marty and buy a second one of these Shawns and just swap the heads, you could totally go that route. I don't know, I might consider it. But this guy does go, if you don't have him, he goes for around $50 alone. I think it's like $100 for the pair now, and that's on secondary market pricing that I'm basing that off of. But anyway, I digress. That is an option. If you do have Marty and you don't like this attire, you can go buy another Shawn or buy 2 Shawns when you have the chance to, and swap the heads if so needed. Anyway, but wrapping up here, my final thoughts on the GameStop exclusive RetroFest Elite Collection, Shawn Michaels. I think I got all of that in there. Definitely 2 thumbs up. I would definitely recommend it. Like I said, there's a couple nitpick gripes with it, but that's just nitpicks. There's nothing really wrong with the figure. I don't have any issues, besides the eyes being a little bit kind of googly. But I guess maybe it was hindsight is 2020 now that Shawn's got kind of like a googly eye anyway. But I digress. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Hit that subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up. If you want to give me a thumbs down, that's cool too, but let me know how I can improve my content. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this review, and I'll see you guys on the flip side.